A park ranger in uniform and hat speaks to a group of visitors gathered under a large tent structure. A child stands in the foreground while adults listen nearby.
And the buffalo sinew in their legs is really long, and it's really soft and flexible when they take it out of buffalo. So they would just take it, peel it off in strands, and literally make sewing thread. They could make use it in thicker quantities to lash tools together.
Would they let it dry first, or would they pull it off as when it's still wet?
While it's still wet, or you could probably soak this and get it soft enough again to do it. But we haven't tried that. I've tried about everything else, but I haven't tried that one yet. So it was used for a variety.
A group of people stands inside a tent with large windows. A person in a brown hat and olive-colored shirt gestures while speaking to the assembled group. Several others listen attentively, including a person in a pink jacket in the foreground.
The wind was coming from the west, so they weren't able to use the sail too often. But that would be another way to propel it. Now, there's a rope up there in the front, too. They would use that rope to pull the boat forward. Now, that would mean the men would either have to walk along the shore. There wasn't much of a shore there along the river.
Actually, I left
Most of the time they were in the water, and sometimes that was water was deep, pulling the boat upstream. Now, the Missouri River is not very deep back then, so they were able to do it in most places like that. But this boat was very, very heavy, and it was loaded with about 15 tons of equipment. So you imagine trying to pull something like that up there. They had about 20, 22 guys out there in the water pulling on that rope. So
just too many people walked up from Missouri.
yeah, I know.
That's what they were doing.
That's what they do. They were walking up the Missouri, carrying their possessions behind them, putting their gear on the boat. Pretty tough guys back then.
Under a gray canopy tent, 3 people stand together in conversation. The person on the left wears a green vest with gold embroidery over a white shirt. Behind them, a cemetery with green grass and headstones is visible under an overcast sky.
Like that. It's just like, what is canvas? Yeah, canvas it's like this root that's it's thin and it looks kind of stringy almost. It looks like a radish. Yeah, it almost looks like a radish. Yeah. Or some people call it, leaves of the white church. The leaves, the tops. Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
Wild carrot is not the same as canvas, but it looks And so they would, with the canvas, the tops of it sort of like with
traditions of her upbringing within this first tribe and some of her experiences growing up. So please welcome Mary Tolble. Good afternoon.
Inside a canvas tent marked U.S. General Land Office, 3 people stand near a table with maps. One person wears a yellow and blue jacket, another wears a dark vest, and a third wears a cap and red sash.
With a sighting vein, once you've got that thing lined up exactly the way you want it to go, and again, you're going to have it up on the tripod or up on its shake-up staff, and then you're going to sight through the sighting vein, and in sighting veins there are holes, and then there's slits below that. So once you've got it kind of rough figured out with the holes, then you slide your eye down and you line it up with the slit, and then you get that much better direction as you go along.
So this team had to move a lot slower.
Yep. Lewis and Clark didn't measure their way all the way across the continent with this kind of accuracy. And what we like to say is that the public land surveyors are following in the footsteps of Lewis and Clark. As they've gone across the continent, now we've got the public land surveyors, the General Land Office surveyors, another name for the same thing, kind of filling in the rest of the map. Lewis and Clark are just taking that one route across the continent, where now we're going to say we want to measure out the rest of it. And the reason for all of this is to fulfill what Thomas Jefferson had in mind, and that is to get, as he put it, the yeoman farmer out on the land.
Do you have a rough idea how far off Lewis and Clark were with their rough maps, and then finally did
the
miles, 2 miles?
The final map, which gets published in, I believe it's 1814 with the first set of journals. That map has been compared with the modern maps, and it comes out to be about 40 miles long.
No kidding.
Now, part of that is the accuracy of the width of the line. I mean, a line on a map of that scale, could be 40 miles wide all by itself. So, but they're incredibly accurate, and it really comes from two places. One is this is a replica of Captain Clark's compass, the one he carried with him. We know it because it's one of the few pieces that actually survived the Lewis and Clark voyage. As they came back to St. Louis in 1806, all their equipment that they had left became surplus government property and was auctioned off. But the compass, Clark's compass.
A person wearing a red cloth or garment sits indoors near a beige wall. They are positioned next to what appears to be a green object or surface in the lower left of the frame.
Compass was his own personal compass, so he kept that compass, and it's now the original is now an associate.
Expected to get back. Yeah, I really tried. I mean, that's amazing.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? Anyway, in fact, that one poster we have on a Pompey's pillar. The one at the top there. Oh yes. And it shows a photo of his where he carved his name. It's a nice poster. Right here.
A person sits in a wooden barrel chair against a cream-colored wall, smiling at the camera. A wicker basket sits on the floor to the right.
That's where Lewis and 3 others come out over Lehigh Pass. They were an advance party. Looking for the way across. It was a disappointing day though. Row after row of mountains.
Yeah, you think, okay, just get on the other side.
Well, that was...
And this corn we get from the Mandan Indians. It's one of the 12 varieties that they eventuated from the old historic genetic seed stocks. And it's the kind they grind for cornmeal, so you can grind it back and forth, just like that.
A young person in a bright green shirt examines a large, round woven basket on a wooden surface. Beside it sits a smaller woven basket containing what appears to be seeds or grains. Educational text is visible on a poster behind them.
You gotta work in the kitchen more. Here you go, I have it's a volcanic rock of some sort.
Kind of a basaltic.
Does it make it sweet?
It's fairly efficient.
Well, it has to.
We recovered this from over in Montana. It's quite old. It's been in a rug for quite a while.
You got one in the shirt.
Original teeth.
Tail.
Yeah.
Two people stand indoors examining a large animal specimen on a table. A person in a white short-sleeved shirt and cap stands across from another person in a beige jacket with a yellow bag, both looking down at the object between them.
This is a relatively large one. Here, check out the difference in the jawbone with this guy. This is about 300 pound grizzly bear, and this is over 1,000. So, quite a bit of difference.
Does the weight correspond directly to like how tall they stand?
Oh yeah, how much mass they develop. Yeah.
Like that, what is it, Boone and Crockett scale?
Right.
Do they measure the height of them?
That's
or?
part of what they weigh. Measure your spectacle set of fingernails.
No, it's this print.
That's rubber casting of one that they made. Casting it, just for it's not.
Inside a tent, a person stands near the open doorway on the left while several others stand to the right. Bright daylight streams through the entrance and a window. The space appears to be set up for a presentation or gathering.
The Forest Service who does kind of the same things that I do.
Are you an archaeologist for the BLM then?
No, historian.
Okay. There are jobs for history majors.
Not very many.
I have a degree in history.
So yeah, for 6 years, I was a teacher before that, so I used my degree obviously. And this is him when he was one of that party of 4 men who first entered Idaho. With my blanket is kind of buried underneath my stuff over there. He would have had a blanket along also, but
So it was like just like a little mini expedition, like they took off from the main group kind of thing?
Yes, yep. Set out on foot because the boats were going so slow at that time. So he was the guy who carried the provisions that week. He was the cook, and so he would have had a haversack. You know, he had 2 pounds of flour, about the same of meal. Now, I don't think he had necessarily any of this stuff, but it's just kind of interesting. I just wanted to have it on display anyway.
This is like the hardback stuff they call it.
Yeah, at that time they were calling it biscuit, but it's the same thing. It's whole wheat flour, butter, and water. Mix it up, roll it out, and then bake it. And that stuff will keep for a long, long time. It's about 14 months old now.
Sugar?
That's a loaf of sugar.
Oh, and what do? You just shave it off?
You can shave it off, or they have little, you can pinch some off like that. Yeah. And it has a lot of molasses in it, so it's really much better for you than just plain white sugar. And that's how tea used to come. That's black tea.
Oh, wow. It's okay, I have to touch it.
Oh, sure.
Where do you get this now?
There's a company, several companies online that sell reenactor supplies, and that's where I get this stuff.
So then when you do this, just cut off a piece too?
Sure. You can scrape some off, or you can cut off a piece, and it's chopped very finely, and so it's almost more of a powder than it is a leaf. And at that time, they were issuing a 69 caliber musket.
That's the big one?
That's the big musket ball there, yes.
They're all handmade, so they could be interchangeable.
No, these weren't. These were made by factory. It's called the 1795 contract model. It actually was just a copy of a musket that was made in France about 30 years.
That's what I mean, because the French one could take, they could take all those, they could move the moving parts on any rifle and change it out with another one.
Yeah.
And so they did that. So for the core, so they all had, if any rifle like that, they could just swap out parts. Like that. Is that kind of how it was? Yeah.
Yes, and they did have one good gunsmith on them, and he had to get innovative a few times to repair guns, but he was able to do so. And so they carried a cartridge box rather than just a powder horn with a separate pouch of balls.
Oh, so they have
Yeah, and I don't know what these look like, but a friend of mine made up some cartridges for me. It's just each cartridge was.
A person in a tan shirt and cap stands inside a tent, gesturing with their hands while speaking to visitors. Various bottles and objects are arranged on a table in front of them. Bright light streams through the tent opening behind them.
Paper, and it had just enough powder to prime the pan, to pour the rest down the barrel, and then the ball went down the barrel. That was enough for one round.
Okay, so you don't have to get out your powder horn and dump it out. You just
Right. But here's the quandary. Okay, now I'm ready to reload, but what do I do? So this gives me to a rule that the Army had at that time, regulation. If you wanted to be in the Army, you had to have at least 2 teeth, and they had to be opposite each other. Do you see where I'm headed?
Yeah.
And then you pour some on that, and then you pour the rest down there.
Right. And then tamp it in with the ramrod, and then you're ready to shoot around. If you were really good, you should be able to get off 4 rounds a minute. One every 15 seconds. And they also had a bayonet, though, in case 15 seconds wasn't enough time.
Several people in cream-colored clothing stand around a small fire on grass. A person in the foreground bends toward the fire while holding a long stick. A red brick building is visible in the background.
That's the biggest chipmunk I've ever seen. That's a big chipmunk. Until they got You want lunch? Another chipmunk.
They were having a hard time.
You got Seymour running now? What time? I did. I fell right in it.
I didn't hit you with anything.
The way they were set up, provisioning cells, they would send out hunters along.
Several people stand outdoors on a grassy area near a red building. A person in a tan jacket speaks while others listen, including someone in a blue jacket and someone in a black jacket facing away from the camera.
The shoreline, and they could range out in front of the Corps as they were moving up, shoot animals and hang them up, and they would actually come along and gather, and they were only moving 5 to 6 miles an hour. 5 to 6 miles a day. And on the way back, they couldn't do it because they were averaging up to 70 miles a day on the way back. They got into the current and the way they came. And so they couldn't put hunters out because they'd run off and leave them.
Downstream, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So they actually had to stop 3 or 4 days at a time, send hunters out, and bring in the food and eat a couple of days, jerk the meat, and then they'd get back in the canoes and off they'd go. But they were not doing too well on the way back. That's whenever Captain Lewis got shot. It was actually on one of the hunting trips
On
by
his rear end.
the beach.
A person in a green jacket with a name badge stands at a red draped table, holding objects and speaking to two visitors. Items are displayed on the red cloth surface indoors.
For your plants. Have one of those.
And they would, yeah, and we still use these today. So they would have put their plants in here. It would have been a cloth, cotton type material. It would have soaked out the moisture. Okay? They would have put it all in here, pressed it together, and kept it nice and tight until the plants dried out. And when they dried out, they had a perfect specimen of the plant that they looked at.
Remember you kids that Uncle Ryan got you one of those? You have that little plant press with the paper.
Piece of wood, a lot of backside. Yeah. Oh, right there on the, this is the back. Away from.
Several people stand on a grassy outdoor area near a large canvas tent. A person in a red and white striped shirt stands in the center, while others in casual clothing stand nearby. A cornhole game board is visible on the ground.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the backside.
Oh, because wood. I should say that. That one has probably alright. Send me back to somebody I think, people always told me here in here. Because my uncle's always told me that. We'll see. And the thing is, I shot
Yeah. These was them and they're pretty old. Nobody can break them.
Yeah, real fine.
Pretty smart thing.
Yeah.
I lived there for my whole life.
Two people stand near a large cone-shaped structure made of bundled reeds or plant material, with wooden rungs forming a ladder up one side. A person climbs toward the peak while another stands at the base. Green grass and trees surround the outdoor setting.
Yeah, this. We got. I thought you were bottom all around there.
Mixture of mercury, you know the stuff in thermometers that goes up and down to tell you the temperature, and jalap, which is a plant root, and it's held together with breadcrumbs as a binding agent. And if you're given one of Dr. Rush's pills, you'd have to hurry to the bathroom, because in less than 10 minutes you'd be cleared out to the extent that just liquid's coming out. Also, to make you go to the bathroom, they have saltpeter, and if they're out of saltpeter, they can give you gunpowder, because saltpeter is one of the ingredients in gunpowder.
What's that sponge for?
Well, it's just a sponge for cleaning wounds. Now, do you have sponges at home?
Yeah.
Is this different?
Yeah.
How's it different?
Because it's all holes. Has like holes in it.
What are the sponges like that you have at home?
They're rough. They have holes in them though. They're like and they're square.
You see, what you have are artificial sponges that they make out of plastics. This is a real sponge. It used to live at the bottom of the sea. Little microbes and bacteria would swim by and get caught up in all the nooks and crannies, and it would eat them. This used to be a living animal. This doesn't have any eyes. You ever see an animal without eyes? You have what?
You're from Clark. Oh, you're from some animals.
And I hauled this out, and it was overcast, and I said to the students, what can I do with it? Oh, you make a fire. I said, what if it's overcast? They said, well, it's easy. You get a flashlight.
Good, good, good.
Now they from North Dakota, and your man in Augusta, you get to say Chicago. They don't pronounce J's when they're around. Now, this woman had a child.
Things really didn't change a whole lot until they put a light cord on them.
Yeah.
Things changed a lot.
In
the grass there.
Huh?
In the grass.
That's my coffee cup.
Oh.
My
That's
coffee
a funny
cup.
looking coffee cup, isn't it?
Then I can put it on my belt here, and I got my coffee cup handy when the next time I want a cup of coffee.
Made out of some kind of
Out of a buffalo horn.
buffalo horn. Yeah.
What is that blue?
What's that blue stuff? What do you think that blue stuff is? Huh? What do you think that blue stuff is?
I
take your line.
Yes,
Is it chalk? Yeah. If I took that would it'd make a nice long straight line. Walmart.
A person wearing a tan jacket and red cap stands at a wooden podium inside a canvas tent. A child with blonde hair stands nearby. Green grass and trees are visible through the tent opening behind them.
See, I would take this string and I would lay it on there like that.
bugs on that.
Listen.
Like that. Hang on the end of it. Hang on right on the end of it. Hold it. Come on, hang on real tight. Oh, down here.
Hold it
Right
down.
there. You see it real tight.
Oh,
The chalk is wet. But
I know, I've seen-
You see the line?
Inside a canvas tent, a person in tan clothing stands near a wooden display case while a child with blonde hair views exhibits on a table. Sunlit grass and trees are visible through the tent opening behind them.